There are battles taking place every single day that most people never talk about. It doesn't happen in a boardroom. It doesn't happen on stage. It doesn't happen where the world can see it. It happens in your mind. Every day your mind is asking a question. Who's in control? Is it your goals or your impulses? Is it your vision or your excuses? Is it your discipline or your emotions? Most people spend their lives believing their biggest obstacles are outside of themselves. They blame circumstances. They blame timing. They blame other people. But the truth is that many of the battles we face externally first begins internally. Because before you quit, your mind quit. Before you stop believing in yourself, your mind accepted doubt. Before you set up for less, your mind convinced you that less was enough. That is why mastering your mind is one of the greatest achievements a person can accomplish. Not because it makes life easy, but because it allows you to remain steady when life begins becoming difficult. Anyone can stay positive when everything is going their way. Anyone can stay focused when there are no distractions. Anyone can stay confident when they are winning. But what happens when life doesn't cooperate? What happens when your plans fall apart? What happens when you experience rejection, disappointment, failure, loss, and uncertainty? That is where mental strength is revealed. Because mental strength isn't about never having negative thoughts. It is about refusing to surrender to them. It is about recognizing fear without allowing fear to make your decisions. It is about feeling doubt without allowing doubt to define your future. And that takes practice. Many people are waiting to feel motivated before they try to take action. But motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll have it, some days you won't. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. Discipline gets you out of the bed when excuses sound convincing. Discipline continues when progress feels slow. Discipline keeps moving when emotions are screaming for comfort. And every time you chose discipline over distractions, you strengthen your mind. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your character. Every time you do what is necessary instead of what is easy, you build trust within yourself. That trust matters. Because confidence doesn't come from talking about what you're going to do. Confidence comes from proving to yourself that you can be trusted. Trusted to stay committed. Trusted to keep showing up. Trusted to continue even when nobody is watching. The strongest people are not always the smartest. They're not always the most talented. They're often the people who learn how to manage themselves. They learn how to stay calm during chaos. How to remain focused when others are distracted. How to continue forward when others stop. And here is something most people never realize. Your mind is always listening to you. Every word you repeat. Every belief you entertain. Every story you tell yourself. If you constantly tell yourself you're incapable, your mind begins to accept it. If you constantly focus on limitations, your mind begins to search for evidence that supports those limitations. But when you begin speaking differently, when you begin thinking differently, when you begin expecting more from yourself, your entire perspective starts to change. You begin seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles, solutions where you once saw problems, growth where you once saw difficulty. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. The quality of your life is often determined by the quality of your thinking. That is why guarding your mind is so important. Be careful what you consume. Be careful who influences your thinking. Be careful what voices you allow to live rent-free inside your head. Because what repeatedly enters your mind eventually shapes your reality. Feed your mind with strength. Feed it with wisdom. Feed it with discipline. Feed it with truth. And when negative thoughts show up, and they will, remember this: You do not have to believe every thought you think. You are not fear. You are not every doubt. You are not every anxious prediction about the future. You are the observer of those thoughts. And the moment you realize that, you begin taking your power back. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed, if you have been feeling distracted, if you've been feeling stuck, don't focus on controlling everything around you. Start by controlling what's happening within you. Because when you master your mind, you master your reactions. When you master your reactions, you master your decisions. And when you master your decisions, you begin to master your life. Remember, the greatest victory will never be over another person. The greatest victory will be over the version of yourself that wanted to quit, settle, and give up. Win that battle. And there will be very little in this world that can stop you.